many reps, how many sets, how many calories, how many fat grams, percentage of macronutrients. You could put it all on your phone and you could track everything of what you're doing to get healthy, fit and strong. The question I always have though, and I'm going to put my phone away because I don't want my phone to control my life. How about you? And I don't want numbers to control my life, and I share that very passionately, and you can live your life however you want to, of course. But if I ask the question, how many calories should you eat? How many fat grams? How much carbohydrate should you eat? What percentage of macronutrients? Now I'm in the kitchen, so I'm asking those questions. But if I was in the gym, it'd be how many reps, how many sets, how many days a week, how many exercises should you do? What should you weigh? What should your body fat percentage be? There's so many numbers when it comes to being healthy, fit and strong. But if you go back to the basics, and people like to complicate things, I get that. And as an exercise professional, I've been one my whole life. I'm an old lady now, and I share old with you for a very passionate reason. Because I'm old and because I've been exercising since I was 10, so 50 years of exercise, it's been really interesting to watch the world get sicker, fatter, weaker, more diseased, more depressed. Now I say interesting because otherwise I'd be very sad. As an exercise professional, I would like the world to be healthy, fit, strong, happy, and be living their life to the max. But the world is not doing that. Now, you might be, but the world in general is not doing very well. We now have normal type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, depression, obesity, cancers, and remember at least 80% of cancers are caused by inactivity. Most doctors, health professionals will tell you that most of their time is being wasted or spent, depending on which way you look at it, on people who don't have to be in a doctor's office or in a hospital. They're there because they're weak and they're unfit and they are not looking after themselves. They are inactive. So to watch all of that happen over my lifetime, my driving force is what's the shortest amount of time with the shortest or least amount of exercise, because most people do no exercise. You might not be that person, but I'm sure you know people who don't exercise, and there are some people who never want to exercise and never have. And they're the ones that end up in the doctor's office or in the hospital, and they're weak and frail and diseased or depressed or all of those put together, and they're getting old really fast. I'm an old lady, but I'm getting younger and younger as I get older, and I'm doing less and less. So how do you make that happen? And one of those big questions, of course, is how do I get strong so that I can be fit? Because you can't get puffed. You can't put in 100% effort if you're weak and frail. And the only way to get fit is to get puffed. If you're doing some plod, jog, slow exercise program, obviously results will either be zero or they'll come very, very slowly, or you'll quit before you get any results because you're so bored doing the long plod, jog exercise. So the shortest amount of exercise we can do, and of course, because most people don't exercise, the closer we are to zero, the better. The further we get away from zero when it comes to exercise, the less likely people are to do something. But to get puffed at 100% effort, I have to be strong. So how do I get strong? And that's just such a complicated question for most people. Reps, sets, exercises, days per week. What kind should I do? Kettlebells or dumbbells or barbells, or what should I lift? And it's just such a complicated process. Well, let's uncomplicate it, shall we? Here's a great question. Can your muscles, my muscles, any muscle, can it count and can it see? And if you think about that really logically, you have to say no. Muscles don't know how many you're doing, and they don't know what you're lifting. They can't see whether it's a dumbbell or a barbell or a kettlebell or a box of rocks or a log or a wheelbarrow full of sand. Your muscles don't know. Muscles just respond to overload. So if you overload your muscles, if they have to do more than they're capable of doing at the moment, they send a muscle to your brain. It's called a myokine. It's part of the endocrine system. A message gets sent from your muscle to your brain to say, this person is overloading us. We need to be stronger for next time. It's part of the endocrine system to keep us alive, the fight and flight system. So if you put your body under stress, your muscles send a message to your brain to say, if next time the load is bigger, the animal is more wild, the tribe is more vicious, we have to be better for next time. So the message gets sent to your brain for your muscles to be stronger for next time. But that only happens when you put them under stress, when they are challenged. So if you're lifting something that's easy, if you're just going through a process of lifting a number of reps or sets, but you're not overloading your muscles, then your program's not going to work, or it's going to be so slow that you'll probably give up, or worse, because you're doing something over and over and over and over. And if you do this over and over and over to a joint in your body from lifting something, you'll get injured, of course. So as I always share, should an exercise program be short so you don't get bored? It should be safe so you don't get injured. And should you be getting the results that you want? And the 4 questions I always ask: should your exercise program give you a stack of energy, help you perform at your best, love what you see in the mirror, love the way your body feels to touch, woohoo, and you get the results that you want for your sport or your business or being a great partner or going on holidays or having a baby or all the things that we want to be fit and strong for. How about fit and strong for life? So to cut all of that into a very short process, to get fit, I've got to get puffed. Whatever I do, if I overload my heart and lungs, I'm going to get fit. Muscles are the same, but because they can't count and they can't see what you're lifting, why do we get so caught up in the reps and sets? So the typical is 3 sets of 10, and I've just cannot understand where that even came from or why you would do it. And here's the reason why. When you understand how the human body works, and if you study your own anatomy and physiology, which is the body you live in for the rest of your life. So why would you give the responsibility of that to a social media influencer or a gym instructor or a personal trainer? It's your body, you've got to live there. So how about work out how your body works so that if you ever do go to an exercise professional, a personal trainer, a doctor, or an allied health professional, you can go there with great questions. And that's my question. Why would I do 3 sets of 10? Number 1, what if I can do 11? If I can do 11 and I stop at 10, I haven't overloaded. I've got to keep going till I can't do any more. And why would I stop before that? Because that would be less than 100% effort. Now, there's, as you would know if you study your anatomy and physiology, simple ABC of anatomy and physiology are the 3 energy systems. The phosphate system, which is 100% effort, 10 seconds, up from 0 to 10 seconds. The lactate system, which is 10 seconds to about 2 minutes. And then the aerobic system, which is 2 minutes and onwards, which we live in. So we're not overloading in there because we live there 24/7 all of our lives. So if we want to overload, we have to work in one of the 2 systems, which is phosphate or lactate. The lactate system, you can work very hard there, but not at 100% effort, because the only 100% effort is the 10 seconds of the phosphate system. That's the fight and flight system. When you're under stress, your body goes there to get away from the threat really quickly or kill the threat really quickly. The lactate system has a waste product called lactic acid. And when it hits up against a nerve ending, because it's acid, it burns. And if you've ever felt that burning sensation when you've worked out, that's lactic acid hitting up against your nerve endings. It's not exploding fat cells. It's not working at 100% effort. It hurts like hell because you're hitting against a nerve. It also means that you're not working at 100% effort. So for me, that's really exciting news, because when I learnt the ABC of physiology, which is phosphate, lactate, aerobic systems, why would I want to exercise with a burning sensation? And just as a side note, for some people who have no resilience to lactic acid, they also feel sick. They call it the green zone for a reason, because some people get nauseous and they throw up. When I didn't understand this effectively, I had clients that I would train and they would throw up when they trained. Now, some people love that, but most people hate it. Why would you want to go and exercise and throw up at the same time? So 10 seconds. How many can I do in 10 seconds so that by the time I get to the lactate system, I've done as many as I possibly can? I've used the full potential of my muscles, which means I'm going to be lifting something pretty heavy. But how exciting, I only have to do it for 10 seconds. So I'm not being controlled by a number of repetitions. I'm being controlled by a time frame, by an energy system. That's the 100% effort system. So if I go, and for me this is really exciting because I now live in the South Island of New Zealand and I'm constantly lifting logs and rocks. And it's the perfect workout because I lift a log, or I push a log, or I pull a log. I use all the muscles in my body and I do that for 10 seconds as hard as I possibly can. And then I have a rest. But the question is this: once you've done repetitions, which is how many can I do in 10 seconds to reach my full potential? And of course, it's not going to be very many, but it's going to be as heavy as you can possibly lift. Now remember, the thing about an exercise program, it's got to be safe so you don't get injured. It's got to be fast so you don't get bored, and it's got to give you the results that you want. And of course, if you work at 100% effort, you're going to get a 100% result. If you work at 50% effort, you get a 50% result. So 100% effort for 10 seconds. First of all, you can't, how could you possibly get an overuse injury because you're not doing something very many times? If you do a safe exercise, but you do it over and over and over and over and over, that will be in itself an overuse injury. So it might be a safe exercise, but the more times you do it, the more likely you are to get injured. If you do something for 10 seconds, you can't do it very many times, so you're less likely to get injured. Then there's, of course, this thing about breaking our body into small little pieces, which, of course, we never do anything one muscle group at a time. Everything we do, I'm just moving my arms around, but it's not just my arms. I've just bent my knees. My abdominals are holding me in the upright position. My upper back muscles are holding me in the upright position. We use all of our body all of the time. Just to stand up, we use all of our muscles. That's why people get tired when they stand up and they have to sit down, because their body's not even strong enough to stay standing all day long. So I want a fit, strong body for the rest of my life. I don't want to waste time exercising. I don't want to count repetitions. I don't want to count sets, because here's the question. Once I've stimulated my muscle, why would I want to stimulate it again? And that's the question of how many sets should I do? If I do a 10 seconds of high intense burst of lifting and I go and do it again, first of all, I don't want to do it again because I don't want to waste my time. But if I go and do it again, I won't be able to lift as heavy because I've already turn my body into a catabolic state, which is I've broken down muscle tissue. I've put small micro tears in the muscle. Now I've got to recover, regenerate those muscles, supercompensate so I get stronger. So once I've stimulated my muscle, if I do it again, what am I doing? I'm just breaking it down further. Why would I do that? Now, of course, you can train however you want to, and there's so much argument about reps and sets and how many exercises and how many days a week. But my question is always this: how could somebody tell you how many reps to do? Because it's up to you how many you can lift in a 10-second period. And it might be 7, it might be 6, it might be 5, it might be 10, depending on how fast you can do it and how safely you can do it. And it also depends on how you feel on the day. So not only can somebody not tell you how many you can do, but is it possible that you don't know how many you can do? Because does it depend on how much sleep you've had, how stressed you are, how hydrated you are, what kind of nutrition you're doing at the moment? There's a whole heap of factors that can determine what we can lift on a certain day. So do as many as you can in 10 seconds. I don't know how many that is for you. You don't know how many that is for me. And somebody else can't tell you or me how many we can do. And then the question is, when do I do it again? I don't want to do it again in 2 minutes time, because that's how long it takes for the phosphate system to recover, about 2 minutes. But I don't have time to go and do it again, and why would I? Because I've already stimulated my muscle. So when do I need to do it again? Nobody can tell you 3 times a week or 5 times a week or split program, or all of that sounds like nonsense to me, because nobody knows my body like I do. When should I go and do it again is when I've fully recovered. So I've got to recover my muscles, regenerate my muscles, and supercompensate. How long does that take? Could that depend on my nutrition, my sleep, my stress levels, how hydrated I am, and how excited I am about training? And excitement for training comes from your endocrine system and your central nervous system recovering. And we often talk about, oh, but my muscles have recovered. But what if your central nervous system hasn't? What if the firing mechanism, the electricity to start the muscle, is not fully recovered? Then you're not going to be able to train as hard, which means you aren't going to get the results that you want. So it's pretty simple, and I'll cut all of that into something really simple. Lift something really heavy as you can in 10 seconds. How many exercises should you do? Well, there's an argument for I just want to use as many muscles as possible at the same time, because that fires up my endocrine system most effectively, because the more muscles I use, the more, if you're a bloke, the more testosterone you'll produce, because you're forcing your endocrine system to work really hard to lift something to overcome a heavy load. So the amount that I can lift and then how often I do it again is all determined by what's going on inside my own body, not what's going on in somebody else's brain or somebody else's opinion on social media. So lift as heavy as you can in 10 seconds, do as many as you can. Don't go again until you're fully recovered, and you'll know that you're fully recovered. This is a beautiful thing about the human body. You'll be stronger. You'll feel like lifting again, and you'll be stronger. So if last time you did 6 repetitions, this time you might be able to do 7 in the same time. Because you're stronger, you can do it faster or more effectively, or you can lift heavier. So if you can lift something for more than 10 seconds, obviously the weight is too light. So you wouldn't stop, you just keep going till you can't do any more. But next time you're going to make the weight heavier because you can. Isn't that awesome? That's how we know we're stronger. We've recovered from our workout. We're stronger, so we're getting results. And ultimately, if I'm stronger, I can then go and work harder to get puffed. I want to wrap that up in a very simple process, as I share every day, and I bang on about this as an old lady, but I wish it was this simple. It really is, but people make it so complicated. Get puffed to get fit, lift heavy to get strong, keep it really short in the phosphate system so you don't waste any time and you're working at 100% effort, and do it safely so you don't get injured. And the argument for how many exercises you should do, if you lift something heavy up off the ground, you're going to be using all the muscles in your body. Now, if you want to add a pushing movement or a pulling movement, and I use my log for that, if I've got a big heavy log in the garden, I push it as hard as I can, or I pull it as hard as I can, or I lift it. People call it a dead lift. I call it an alive lift. Because if you lift something heavy up off the ground, you will stay alive for a very long time because you're using all the muscles in your body. Literally, somebody said to me just recently, oh, but you probably wouldn't be using your eyelids. It's interesting when you lift something really heavy though, you probably do use your eyelids. You're using your fingers, your forearms, your upper arms, your shoulders, your upper back, your lower back, your abdominals, all the muscles in your legs, everything's being used. You're firing up your endocrine system and you're more likely to get results, which means you're more likely to stick to your program, which means you can be healthy, fit and strong for the rest of your life. So how many reps and sets? Nobody knows. You only know on the day. How many times a week? You don't know until if you go to the gym or go to lift something and you haven't fully recovered, your body will tell you because you won't be stronger. So keep it simple. And of course you can do whatever you want. But if you really want to inspire people to be healthy, fit and strong, let's always ask the question, why would I do that and how does it work? There doesn't seem to be any logical justification for numbers of reps and sets somebody else telling you. You just work it out based on the human physiology, your human physiology. Live your life to the max as a healthy, fit, strong person so you can actually come into the kitchen and eat as many calories as you bloody well want. Woohoo! Super duper doo, how are you? Living my life to the max. Yay!